What it do, baby? It's your boy Tyler, aka Armchair Coach, aka Casual Fan, and I'm coming at you live during Week 7 of the NFL season with some fantasy football trade targets. And I know, some of you right now, you had CeeDee Lamb, you had Lamar Jackson, James Conner, Malik Neighbors. You drafted Jamar Chase or Joe Burrow and they went down. But we're here right now to tell you to not lose hope. There are guys out there. If you have too many of one position, you need a wide receiver, you need a running back. Here are some trade targets that you can go after today. Kicking it off, who are we starting with today, Casual Fan?
What do you think of Wan'Dale Robinson?
Wan'Dale Robinson. Now, this is someone who could be a fringe wide receiver 3 or flex player if you're in a deeper league. But for him, I would try to sell high. He's very similar to a Jameson Williams insofar as he's very big play reliant. And although Neighbors is absent and he's going to get more touches, I don't think he's a very viable, consistent roster starter unless he can score touchdowns, which I think most of those will go to Cam Scadaboo. So if you have Wan'Dale, and if you can, try to sell high on him.
Well, what about this A.J. Brown guy?
For A.J. Brown, little bit of a conundrum with the Eagles offense, and their passing game has not been good. The formula to beat the Eagles has been to force Hurts to pass, but I like AJ. I'm going after him, and I'm betting on a resurgence. I think the Eagles will continue to get better as the season progresses. That's what good football teams do. That's how you play championship football. So buy low on AJ Brown if you have someone who's willing to offshore him to you.
What about McConkey?
McConkey, he had a good game last week against the Dolphins, but keep in mind, besides the Cowboys, the Dolphins probably have the single worst defense in the NFL. They cannot sack the quarterback. They have no cornerbacks. They're all practice squad players. If you have McConkey, I'm trying to sell high on him. Get yourself a starting quality running back or wide receiver, or maybe a tight end packaged with a flex player if you need that sort of positional player advantage. I'm trying to sell high on McConkey.
What about this Jakobi Meyers guy?
For Jakobi Meyers, I think you could target him to buy low. I think Geno and the offense hasn't looked great. Bowers is going to get a target share once he comes back from injury. And Trey Tucker has ironically overshadowed Jakobi a bit. But if you have someone who's willing to kind of just dump Jakobi Meyers, I think that you can get him for a lower value than the pick that he was drafted at. So buy low on Jakobi Meyers and let's root for that Raiders offense to come back.
Now I'm thinking about some running backs. What about this Breece Hall guy?
Okay, we're thinking running backs, and for Breece Hall, it's tough because I expect the Jets to be losing most of their games, and their passing offense, although it's terrible, they're going to have to rely on it to get back into games, which is why I think Breece hasn't played super well so far. But I'm still a fan. I think he gets enough action in the passing game, and the Jets haven't proven to me that it's going to be enough of a committee there in New York. I still think Breece, barred by any injuries, is going to get the touches to be a productive HB2 or flex player. If you can package maybe like a Jameson Williams and a Dobbins or someone else, if you can put together some sort of deal to get Breece Hall on your team, I know it's crazy for an 0-6 squad, but give me Breece Hall. Let's buy low on him and root for him to do a little bit better.
Speaking of buying low, what about Chase Brown?
Chase Brown. I am trying to sell Chase Brown. I do not like him. I think the Cincinnati offensive line is terrible, and it's letting the entire offense down. And you see a little bit of sneaky production with Flacco coming in, and Jamar Chase is looking good. What I'm looking for with Brown is I'm looking for him to have maybe 1 or 2 good games under Flacco and sell him, get rid of his ass.
What about Alvin Kamara?
Alvin Kamara, this is tough for me, and someone recently offered to trade me Alvin Kamara for David Montgomery, which I declined. Even though Montgomery is a backup and Kamara is a starter, I don't love rooting for terrible offenses, and the Saints are bottom 5. That being said, I think if he is healthy, he gets enough action in the passing game. We all saw him score like 60 fantasy points a couple of years ago. I mean, just absolute electric highlights. And Kendre Miller hasn't proven to me that he's going to take over too many of Kamara's touches. So if you can buy low on him and get Kamara, I think he's still a great flex play when he's healthy. Get in on the Kamara market now if you can.
And what about Kamani Vidal?
Kamani Vidal. If I have Kamani Vidal right now, I think he looked good. Again, he was playing a battered Dolphins defense, and he may lose all of his trade value upcoming in Week 7. I'm trying to sell high or get whatever you can for Kamani Vidal right now, because of course Hampton is going to come back in a few weeks, and he's not going to have as much utility in that offense. I actually feel the same way about Rachaad White. You know, depending on how long that lower leg or that ankle injury and that shoulder injury are hindering Bucky, I think guys like Rachaad White, Kamani Vidal, I think you try to sell on those guys right now and see if anybody in your league can bite on that. See if you can get them to bite.
And what about some quarterbacks? I really need one. I was thinking about trading for Jalen Hurts.
If you're thinking about trading for Jalen Hurts, if the price is right, I would trade for him. I would much rather try to maybe land someone like Jackson Dart if someone can give you him and they already have a starter. I would also try to maybe target Trevor Lawrence on waivers if possible. But again, as I stated with A.J. Brown, I expect the Eagles' passing offense to improve. They have the weapons. They have Saquon. They have Devontae Smith. They have A.J. Brown. Their offensive line is still top 10. I am trying to buy low on Hurts and expect him to play better. He's already gotten the exposure to touchdowns. He's got the rushing touchdowns in the red zone. They're going to tush-push it 4 times in a row on first and goal at the 1. So if the passing offense is there, he's a top 3 fantasy quarterback, and he's competing with Lamar and Josh Allen easily. So buy Jalen Hurts right now if you can get a reasonable offer for him right now.
Hey, sticking with the Eagles. What do you think of Dallas Goedert?
Dallas Goedert, I love him, and when I've avoided the tight end market, I've always tried to take him late in leagues. Like, he's been a staple for me. But for Dallas Goedert, I am going to sell high on him if possible. I think there are plenty of guys to stream in the tight end market, and it's been pretty up and down overall this year with guys like Goedert and Darren Waller outperforming the likes of Brock Bowers and Travis Kelce, even in some weeks. Same thing with Kincaid going toe-to-toe with these guys. So I'm trying to get a flex player. If you need to upgrade a wide receiver 2 or a HB2 and you can bundle that with Dallas Goedert and get an upgrade, I'm trying to sell high on him. I know he had the 20-point game. Capitalize on it. It's not going to happen every week. What are we thinking here, guys? Sell high on Dallas Goedert.
Sticking with tight ends, what do you think of Jake Ferguson?
Jake Ferguson, sell him right now. CeeDee Lamb's either going to be back in Week 7 or Week 8. And obviously, Ferguson and Pickens are still going to be used in the offense, and they've developed good chemistry with Dak, who's playing very well, and they're very heavily reliant on the passing offense. That being said, I don't expect Jake Ferguson's fantasy production in the next 4 weeks to reflect how good he's been in the previous 4 weeks. If you get a good offer for him, sell high on Jake Ferguson.
And what do you think of
Tre McBride, to me, I think it's a hold, but sell high on him if you can. He's TE4 right now, and to me, the Cardinals, just as an offense and as a football team, they are just very up and down. Marvin Harrison Jr. looks like the best player in fantasy 1 week, and he completely disappears the next week. And like we said, there's people that are just streaming the likes of Darren Waller, and they're getting production out of them. I still think that the tight end market has been a little bit weak this year. If you can get some value out of McBride and you can get a serious flex player or a bona fide HB2 or wide receiver 2 and add a little bit more depth on your team, I would trade for him.